It's a team effort, today's live stream. I thought I was getting started early and doing a good job, but no, I guess not. So I'm going to start with this simple one. This is just a bite plate. We'll start with this camera down here. Oh, do we have ducks? Are the ducks still out there, Beckett? Yeah, let's see those ducks. Yeah, so we do have duck cam. Beckett changed out the water. Oh, hey Beckett, I think you need to go turn the water hose off, or did you already do it? You gotta go do it. Okay, all right. So while Beckett goes and turns off the water hose, so he dumped out the water, give him some fresh water. Ducks love fresh water. That's that's important. If you ever raise ducks, they they do love their fresh water. So I'm going to get a acrylic out. This is actually going to be candy apple red. Like I said, this is let me cover up the info. This is pretty much just a basic retainer here, and it's got a bite plate. And sometimes I'll do those first because I'm afraid I'm going to forget to put the bite plate on. Usually my wife does a really good job when she takes them out of the pressure pot, and she'll look at the prescription and she'll go, "Oh, Cade, you forgot the bite plate." And so I'll have to add it real quick or wait till she trims it. And then, so with this 3D printed models, you got to put separator on it again. But anyway, we are going to do that. So my bite plates usually go right to the edge of the teeth right there. So let's. Ooh, I need a haircut. All right, audio sounds good now. All right, very good. So let's get going. Uh, oh, Beckett's on top of it. So, seen my channel before, you know I start with a clear uh, uh, layer. I got to get my tweezers out, get my tools out. I didn't get those out. All right, here's my tools. So, looking at from the above camera, my tools are my tweezers for the name. This is for cutting acrylic, and this one's for scooping out acrylic. Uh, so those are my tools of the trade. So I'm going to grab this name. Here in the state of Texas, U.S., I have to put names in them all. Now it's up to the doctor to make sure they're in there. So the lab doesn't have to do it unless it's prescribed by the doctor to do it. But ultimately, it is the doctor's responsibility to make sure the names are in the appliance. And that's, I want to say it's mainly for like when nursing home, patients, residents lose their retainers. Sometimes they'll get mixed up with other dentures from other. You'll go visit your mom or your grandmother, and her teeth won't be fitting right, and it's her neighbor's teeth in her mouth. So having names in the appliances is a good idea. And I kind of wonder if has a little bit to do with like forensic investigations. They find a body or something like that. There's no identifying marks, but they're wearing a retainer. They can actually, you know, find out who was doing that, whose retainer that was. So this scan wasn't the best. As you can see, they didn't give me the full palette, but there's enough to work with here. So those that missed the audio, what I was doing at the very beginning, when I guess nobody could hear me, was I was refilling my clear polymer containers or dispensers or whatever you want to call them. And and like I said, I like to have two of them. Um, that way, if I run out and I'm in the middle of doing a retainer, I can just grab the next one. I haven't decided which one I like. This is called a Boston Round, and this one is like an Elmer's glue type. This is the type you get from JBC and Company. You get them. They're a little easier to hold. You can put them between your fingers like that. So I'm just going to put a bite plate on here. And I usually just build it up to the edge of the teeth, and then we'll just cut it back ever so slightly, depending on the doctor's preferences. I have one that likes to go to the edge of the teeth, and then one that wants it 2 millimeters below the incisal edge. So, about, this will be the top of the teeth, or the incisal edge of the teeth. So I like to make a very definite acrylic bite plate. That way when my wife goes to trim, she's like, oh, there's supposed to be a bite plate here. So in case she forgets to read the prescription, it's pretty obvious that there's one on there. Sometimes I will forget to put one on there, but I made sprinkled the retainer so thick she can kind of make one out of what's there, just not trim as much back. This isn't my usual. There we go. This is my usual one. I like to scrape this. And I've gone over this before. It's one of my tips if you want to check out my 5 tips for acrylicing. 5 tips for doing acrylic on 3D printed models. Again, these are all 3D printed models that we're working on today. So I have 5 tips. My 5 tips for, 3D printed models, because it's a little different. There we go. So I'm going to put this in the pressure pot. And so this was candy apple red. I do like this color. It's a lot of fun. Good for like school mascot colors and stuff. So put this in the pressure pot, and it was not turned on. So that's going to take a little bit to warm up. Mainly the heat of a pressure pot is just to speed up the polymerization of the acrylic. So we have model number 2. Beckett can do the overhead shot probably better than anything. And we're going to go with luminary blue. That's what this patient wants. So these are real simple appliances. Again, I'm going to start with my clear undercoating. Put the name in there. If I can grab a hold of the name. Come on, name. And then, now with blues, I don't know if you know this or not, especially blue polymers, the colors tend to separate. And I've talked to Priscilla about this, and she said it's mainly the nature of that blue pigment that's in there tends to be, doesn't like the monomer, so it runs away from it. So like if I put big, huge drops on here, I'll show you what it does. It like all the pigments will run from it, and you get kind of a blotchy look to it. So I tend, there's a couple things you can do. You can always pat it down, and to me that pushes it into the wet layer below the pigment, so they don't tend to run as much. So that's a little bit better. And another one is I use like what I call the sprinkle method, where I use real tiny monomer. And so then if it does spread, because as you put a dot, the blue will spread to the edges of that dot of monomer. And so if you put tiny dots, they don't have as much further to go, so it doesn't look as obvious. All right, so do a little. Luminary blue. So you notice I'll do the little tiny droplets. Do a mixture of the two where I pat it down. So I'll do about 2 or 3 layers of the color. I think it gives a good coverage. Doing a little bit bigger drops there, and then I'll do a clear coat over all that. Most of that clear coat will probably be ground off if I made it too thick, but it helps with any undulating acrylic in there. Undulating is a weird word. Undulating, but it'll fill it in and if it's clear, you can't really tell. I'm gonna make a cut there, make a cut there, make a cut there. So this X-Acto knife I'm using, I'm just making sure it makes full contact with the model below. And I want to scrape this out clean. There we go. Now I did put a little bit of polymer here, so just in case I put too much monomer in this and it starts slumping in the pressure pot, and since my pressure pot's still cold, there's a big chance of doing that because it won't set up as fast because the heat helps it set up faster. It'll slump onto that powder and not onto the raw model, and make it easier to take off in case it does slump. Into the pressure pot that goes. All right, that was luminary blue. I don't know what do we got left. What do we got next? Is that case pan? And so as I go from, Becky used this other camera, the green one. As I go from, I usually work from this side here, and I do my work, pull the name off there, and then when I put it in the pressure pot, I then transfer it over next to the pressure pot. Then it tells my wife, hey, that is done. The ones that are in the pressure pot, the ones that are stacked here are in the pressure pot. So that helps her, helps us communicate, especially if I'm not here, I had to go somewhere. She knows that that stack right there is in the pressure pot. So we have purple sparkle. That's gonna be fun. Let's see, where can I find it? Here we go. Purple sparkle. I like my shelves. I think Beckett helped me organize this. But I have all my luminary and I have my opaque and my royals colors, and then all my sparkle ones down there. Oh, Mr. Hatch, mandatory for identify. Yes, it is mandatory here in Texas. If there's enough acrylic if there's enough room in the acrylic and it's removable, fixed, I don't have to worry about it. It's cemented in, it's not coming out. I'm not going to lose it. But anything that's removable, it has enough acrylic for a name. The doctors are required to put names in there. That's just Texas. You guys check out your own state or country codes. But yeah, don't break the retainers. Yeah, this is this is called the salt and pepper technique. I did use the word stacking acrylic, which I do like that a little bit better than salt and pepper. Or I like salt and pepper better than sprinkling, but I tend to say sprinkling the most because the lab I used to work at, that's what they used to say. That's what they used to call it, sprinkling acrylic. I've also heard it called shooting acrylic, which is even better, but might get me in trouble online. I don't know. But stacking acrylic is what we're doing there. All right, so we're on number 3. We'll let Beckett choose the best camera angle, whichever one comes out the best. I am going to switch to a different monomer. This is tinted clear monomer. It means it's the acrylic's going to come out even more clear. There's a violet tint to this, which counteracts the natural yellowing of the regular acrylic. So this this is the regular monomer, and this is the natural color of that monomer, which is, it looks clear here, but as it cures and ages, it yellows, and the tint in here will actually counteract that yellowing and make it clearer and longer. I also use it for labial acrylic and splints. So, and then I'll use it for these glitters because the glitter is mixed in with a clear polymer. So this same type of polymer, and that is going to be make it more of a clear, less yellowing. All right, I'm gonna get my name here. Oh. Come on now. Can't. I get acrylic on the inside of my little tweezers here, and I can't grab the little name. Beckett switched to the ducks. Oh, there's nothing out there. They got bored of your duck water. Beckett's not very talkative today. I think I woke him up too late. I do like lots of glitter. Yes, I am a 40-something-year-old man saying that, but I just like, you know, for the retainers to have a lot of glitter. I think it does well. I think it looks better than just a sporadic, dusting of glitter. And that's why I like to buy these pre-mixed. You can buy your own glitter. You got to be real careful of the type of glitter you buy because it could fade over time. The polymer has a chemical in there that can rub the color free. So there are some glitters that are hard. They're mainly like light greens and aquas and stuff like that. They tend to fade over time. So I only buy 4 ounces at a time, just to prevent that. Let's put one more layer of glitter. And again, this is not just pure glitter. This is a acrylic clear polymer mixed, which is what I was saying before. I like to buy them pre-mixed. I don't like to mix my own. You can mix your own bottle of glitter. Either just have raw glitter and you just put clear powder down and just hand dust some acrylic on there. I just have over the years like having them pre-mixed like this. And it just helps. I think it's more consistent. So I got that one done. I'm going to let that sit just a bit. And then I'm going to move on to the next one. And while that sits, and I'm going to watch it over here as it starts to mix. See, it's starting to get shiny right here. So I'm just going to add a little powder. Now, as you go really fast, it's sometimes good to just let them sit, let them cure a little bit before you put them in the pressure pot. That way you know it's not going to secretly slump on you in the pressure pot. So this one, oh, and always have to like double check and make sure the models didn't get mixed up. I've done that before. I don't know how many times where I've mixed up the models and it's the wrong color and the wrong patient name. Had one patient's mom freak out, wrote bad reviews on the doctor's website because I put the wrong name. It was the right retainer, but somehow the names got mixed up between case pans, which is really rare for us. But yeah, the mom thought we were trying to fit someone else's retainer, and she was getting grossed out, and we had to explain, like, no. It's a brand new retainer. It is your daughter's retainer, but it's just the the names are switched. All right, so while that one's setting up, and what I'm working on now is luminary teal polymer. So luminary teal green. If you've paid attention to the last one I cut, this one is cutting a little different. The acrylic has already reached a rubbery stage, which makes it good for cutting the acrylic nice and clean. Might be a little late on this one, just a little bit. As you can see, it's dragging through, but there's a sweet spot where this stuff is right before this rubbery stage, and it will peel out real easy. You just peel it right out. Put those other two in the water, put that one on the cup. Oh. Beckett's chatting. I thought we had a lot of comments. That's Beckett in the chat talking with y'all. So if you're wondering how I'm able to type those while I'm making retainers, that's how. So yeah, I'm really surprised we don't get more. Oops. More luminary teal or even royal teal. They're really similar. Just one glows in the dark. Yeah, these glow in the darks are real popular, especially pink, red, blue. Pink and blue are probably the popular glow in the dark retainers. So I usually keep my dispensers close by here and here, where I can grab them real quick. But I'm trying to keep the way clear for all these cameras. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit. Let me go ahead and cut this one because this side's been sitting longer. I'm going to take my little scoop. These are acrylic detail tools. These wooden handle ones, there's a bunch of them. They come in a kit. I got them from JBC and Company. So jbcandcompany.com is the website, and you can find them in your acrylic tool supplies or something like that. But I think you can find them on Amazon. I think they're actually like clay tools. But I got to order some more because these are, I've broken some of these, but just years of use. So in the pressure pot, that one goes. The water's finally heating up. I'm using a Great Lakes pressure pot, probably one of the best ones out there, the pressure pots. So this one's a little different. This one, they're asking for turquoise, and so that is an actual monomer color. So duck cam with no ducks. So it's an actual monomer color. So it's just like these, but pigments have been added to it. So with these, you would just use plain clear powder, clear polymer. I'm going to put my name in again. If you're wondering about this retainer, looks like it's just a labial bow. It's going to have soldered C's on there, but I'm going to pulse arc weld those on after the retainer's done. But sometimes when I do it with the labial bow off the model, it tends to twist a little bit if I'm not careful, the labial bow, and so I gotta adjust that. So it's just easier just having the acrylic already made and holding the labial bow. Actually, my very first live stream this year, back in January, was covered the soldered C's, how I do them now. And pretty much I just send it through when my wife is done with it. I can either add the soldered C's before I keep getting drops on my hands. Uh, I can either add the solder seeds before I do the acrylic or after. She's either trimmed or pumiced and polished all the ways. Uh, Either way, we do the solder seeds. You grind the joint a little bit with a burr, make it smooth, make sure it's not poking the patient. Most of my monomer colors are in eyedropper, but the more popular ones put in these. I buy more of them, so I put them in these bigger containers because I like. I'd rather use these needle tip uh, dispensers than the eyedroppers. But have you ever been to one of the conferences that Priscilla, the owner of JBC and company, who created all these acrylic colors? She has a really cool technique where um, she uses like the thing like this in between her fingers. I don't know if you have to use overhead cam or not, Beck, but she does it like this, and then with her other finger she grabs the. Say I'm doing this blue. She has it between her fingers, and then she grabs this and she does the drips like that, puts it back, so she never has to drop the bottle. So those are a lot of things that you can, streamline your method with, and it's neat to go to conferences and find out how other people do that. Anybody out there have a pretty neat way that they do their acrylic? I know there's one guy that comes to our conference. He uses the dough method, and so he actually takes one of these I call it dapping dishes, but it's a rubbery cup. But they're bigger. They make bigger ones, and he does polymer monomer. He pre-mixes it, and so he mixes it up, and then as it starts to set up in that rubbery kind of stage, or right before that rubbery stage where it sticks together, he takes it and it's called the dough method, and then he pushes it into the retainer, and you can actually like this. You can actually form it to the roof of the mouth and get it into all the good thing about that is your colors come out beautiful. So there's no like that blue polymer. It doesn't separate on you because it's all mixed together. There's no separating. But the bad thing is there's a lot of waste, in my opinion. Like all this, like your dough mix, you got to make enough to cover the palette. So you got to overproduce so that if you come up short, you don't want to do that because then you got to mix up another batch and add it to it. And it's already setting up, blah blah blah. Anyway, the the uh, the dough method's a pretty interesting method, in my opinion. It's if you've come from a denture background, you'll know that dough method because that's how they make dentures. Is they pre-mix the denture base and press pack it using a flask and stuff. So anyway, most ortho labs that I know they teach this because it creates less waste. This is from 5 models. So this is the leftovers from 5 models, whereas this would probably be the leftovers, if not more, from just one if you use the dough method. But I'm sure the better you get at the dough method, the less waste you produce. And that is it. That was just a very simple how I do my retainers. I moved the cameras on here. So that's how I do my retainers. Just I stack my acrylic. And so pretty easy. That was only 36 minutes, but Yeah, the labial bow, let's see. The labial bow is the ones in the 2s, not the 3s. Labial bow is on the 2s and 3s, not right. So you probably see me do labial acrylic. I have 2 doctors that the labial bow goes 4 to 4. So that means the labial acrylic goes 3 to 3. It's a long span labial acrylic. It's kind of annoying to do. We've gotten really good at it here, but that's just how it goes. I don't think I have a sample one. Let me go check real quick. Becky, you can go to the non-duck pond if you want. Let me see if I have a sample of labial acrylic. Nope. 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 Okay. Okay. So I do have, yeah, this one's actually 2 to 2 labial acrylic. It's a wraparound, and they do acrylic 2 to 2 on the wraparound. But it kind of touches the 3 a little bit. Here's another one. This is a spring clip retainer. And here's another one that wasn't finished. It was, I think it was the wrong color or something. I just redid the whole thing. It's not even pumice, or yeah, it's not even pumice or high shine. But that's a 3 to 3. But yeah, it's the labial bow is on the 2s. Oh. Not labial acrylic. Sorry. You're talking about the actual labial wire. Yeah, you can see here. This is what they wanted. So this is called an interim holly or a phase 1 holly. Most likely they don't have their 3s in. So they just want, they've gone through phase 1 braces, which means just the brackets on the forefront teeth, maybe some bands on the 6s, and the 3s to the 5s are all baby teeth. So now they then have to wait on the baby teeth to fall out, but they're not going to keep the brackets on. So they make these phase 1 hollies just to hold those front 2 teeth 2 to 2 together and straight. And then the doctor will go in and grind out where the acrylic's touching the baby teeth. And so as the patient's wearing them, the baby teeth can fall out. And this retainer then holds everything in position, holds the front teeth up front in alignment, holds the molars back with those Adams clasps. You probably saw those Adams clasps on there. Let me grab one of these so you can see better. So hot. All right, Becky, you probably go to the overhead cam here. So I'm going to separate this. Yeah, so labial bow is 2 to 2. And then we got these Adams clasp here. Get this off. Here we go. Don't break the retainer. I think you had commented before. All right, come on. Yep, I think I'm about to break this. So I'm going to do my trick. I'm going to dip it into some water. Now that I've got one side up, if I dip it in some water, that water will go and help me release the rest of this. I feel it going. What I'm thinking happened is some of the acrylic got on the raw model somewhere. There we go. Whew! That was rough. But like you were saying, so the teeth, so these are all baby teeth here. We call them C, D, and E. C, D, and E. These are permanent teeth. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. And these are the 6s. These are the 6-year molars. So they've already gone through treatment. They've already wore brackets here, and they've wore bands here. This one actually had an expander. I can actually see the arms from the expander, so they've expanded. So this will actually hold the mouth open as so that they don't lose the expansion. So sometimes they do this phase one where they will expand, they'll straighten the front teeth, and that gives enough room for these to fall out and for the permanent adult teeth to come in. So they'll wear this until until they lose their baby teeth and the permanent will come in, and then they'll start phase two, and they'll then can put brackets on all the teeth and just finish up the case. And it actually takes less time in phase two if they have done a phase one. And so these will all be cut back. Sarah, my wife, the acrylic trimmer will cut back where these are. Oh, look, that's where it was stuck. You can see the part of the model. Yeah, part of that tooth right here broke off. Holy cow, that's crazy. Part of that tooth broke off. I guess I didn't have enough separator on there, or I did something to it to remove the separator. But anyway, she'll remove the acrylic. Acrylic will not be touching the baby teeth, and those can fall out. But that's what the reason for the 2-to-2 labial bow instead of the 3-to-3. That was close. Yes, that was close. That scared me for sure. I was hoping that would come off, but anyway, if there's not any more questions, Beckett, are you on the right? Gotta get the right camera. There we go. Okay, so that was it. An easy day today. I did interview yesterday on the ORG podcast. Michael Wright of ODL, one of the larger labs, has absolutely beautiful labs. I believe they have, I think he said he has 60 technicians now. So they have a huge lab in near Buffalo, New York, and I got to talk to him about starting his lab, and actually he is the creator of EasyRx, which is the software we use in our ortho lab. So that was very very interesting. Yeah, Mahela, that had my heart racing too. I was gonna break one live on the live stream. But anyway, go back, watch that. Let me know what you think. Oh, the ducks are back. I didn't realize that. They all came back, didn't they? Those are my wife's ducks. I think, and a chicken in the foreground. But they all went out there to get a drink of water. It's hot here in Texas. I think it's like 95 degrees or something, 98 degrees. But anyway, I will leave it there. I want to thank everybody for joining, and be sure and watch the next week. We'll have another live stream covering some other subject, and leave a comment below if there's a subject you'd like for me to cover, and I'll see if I can put it on the live stream. But until then, everybody, let me get my outro ready. I got to be professional about this, but yeah, let me get my outro ready. But until then, thanks everybody for tuning in, and until next time, happy bending.